DC writers, there's a, they think that by annoying people and doing this sort of stuff that you're going to get sales. Sure, number one will get the, what I would call the collector, right? FOMO, fear of missing out, right? People who are like, who are trying to collect it and have that, oh, I've got this, right? And that's it. After that, nothing else will get the same numbers because they want that number one, or that first interpretation of him as a gay character, or as a bi character, or as a lesbian, or as black, right? But never white, right? Never white. So, it's like, I would love to see the first Black Panther, right? As a white dude, right? White Panther. Right. So this is Joshua Williamson, whose comic I will never buy again, right? If this is the attitude you have towards, people, towards your fan base, to your readers. And this is why comic shops are closing down after 30 years of being in business, right? As I said, recent thing that I noticed in myself, that comics just just in 2015, they didn't move. They just didn't move. Yet, although the mangas were getting ordered, and like people come in, give me this anime, please order this, $55 or whatever, because at that time it was very expensive. And I think it's still a bit expensive getting a DVD of a manga. Anime. And people come in and I've never even heard of it. Okay, cool. Like Fate's, was it Fate? Something Fate, and I'd never heard of it. And she said, I'll get this. And I went, all right, I'll get my supply. I got this. All right, it'll take this long to get here. Cool. It's arrived. Here's the money. Cool. I wish I'd been smart enough to go with manga instead of like dropped out comics, instead of having to close my shop up. There was other factors, but I saw the comics not moving. When you got 150 odd comics on the shelf times 10, that's $1,500 sitting on the shelf. And this is why comic stores are closing, because of people like this. So Batman writer Joshua Williamson, right? This is once again from Fandom. Here we go. Let's put this up as a marketing thing, right? So they see this as a marketing ploy. And look, annoying your customers is never a good marketing ploy. Have you ever been to a shop and that person has treated you really bad? Do you think you're ever going to go back to that shop? If that salesperson's had a bad day, rather than getting somebody else's service, she or he gives you a bad service, you go, you know what? I'll go to another store. And I've done that. I'm sure I've done that. Like, my memory's not that good, but I mean, usually I won't go back to that person. I'll look for somebody else to serve me if I need something that I can't find anywhere else. So the problem with this whole thing, and this is across the board with mainstream comics right now, Marvel and DC, this is their way, right? So Batman, let me grab a drink again. Sorry, it's a bit hot today, and I've got the windows closed because there's a noise outside, and I've got lights up and in front of me so I don't look too dark. Because if you don't have enough lighting, there's something for people who are, who haven't done filmmaking or don't know how lighting works. The more lighting you have on your face, the better the pixels when you go to edit. So you need a brighter, image for the camera's lens to pick up and get as much detail, because every time you go and edit, it actually downgrades digitally, right? So it's not getting the same amount. So what goes out becomes a bit deteriorated. So you might have a 1080p broadcast, it might come down at 750 or 720, I should say, because of editing, because you're like exporting again and so on. So it deteriorates that. Kind of like this, right? When you do this, with your if you mistreat your customer, it gets downgraded, right? Oh, I'm not going to go see, buy the comic. I'm not going to go to that, offer them my money anymore. I'm not going to buy it from that store. I'm going to find from some other store. I'm not going to buy from that online store. I'm going to buy from that online store, right? Because, right, yeah, I mean, I've just had one of my items lost for the first time, right? From like Trade Me, and like it's been delivered. And I'm like, where is it? Tracking it, right? So it's kind of annoyed me right now. And so I'm like, it's kind of sad because I was looking forward to my Spawn collected edition DVD set. Anyway, so Batman writer, he writes for DC. Batman writer Joshua Williamson admits Marvel and DC comics piss people off as a marketing ploy for short-term comic sales. That is not a good way, but they don't care. Like I said, they don't care because it's not them that's buying the comic. It's you. But really, it's the shops. And like I said, if I've got 150 comics sitting on my shelf as a comic shop owner, which I had, that's $1,500 New Zealand that's sitting on the shelf because each one of those comics costs $10 to the customer. So I've lost $5 already, right? Because I've already paid $5 for it for wholesale. Now I marked it up because that's how it is. It's a retail on the right. That's how you retail it. You can't retail more. You got to retail what the price is, and so you've lost money every time it sits there. It's using up space and it's not doing anything. So this is John Delaro's writing, right? So here we go. So Marvel and DC Comics have abused comic book readers for the longest time, probably about 15 odd years, I'd say. You know, around. I noticed it about 10 years ago, right? 2014, 2015, but I'm sure it's been, happening a bit longer. So the comic industry keeps lowering the bars of the products, and you can open any comic up and have a look at it, but 3 and 5 will be shit. And I'm talking about mainstream comics, right? From Marvel and DC. The art inside isn't as good as the art on the cover. And even and I mean like A cover. I'm not talking about the B cover. I'm talking about the A cover, like the cover that should represent what's inside, right? Yeah, the comic industry keeps lowering the bar of products and destroying beloved characters like Spider-Man. Let me just check something. I'm just give me 1 second. Just wondering whether you're able to hear me or not. All right, so that's that. Give me 1 second. Now, I try not to be negative on here, so I try to show toys and stuff like that. But a lot of time, it's not really like the pop culture, like the what's happening in anime isn't good news, right? A lot of bad news is happening. But we're gonna look at Solo Leveling, right? Trailer from that because it's a brand new show, and I got told about that, a while back, probably about 2 years ago, from one of my, talking about shop, what is it called? Like talking about shops, right? Like a grocery store guy was saying, hey, you know what? Have you listened to shop? Hold on, that was bad. So, have you checked out Solo Leveling? I've been reading webtoons and I love it, man. I'm like, because he goes to me, oh, you read manga too, right? Because he knows I'm a comic dude. I go, yeah. Because and I'd never read it. I think I read 1 or 2 pages and never read it because I was just like, okay, well, I've been reading other stuff. So yeah, and we'll have a look at that because that's pretty cool, right? But like I said, right now it's the market is cynical because of what's happening, right? So let's go. So the comic industry keeps lowering the bar of the products and destroying beloved characters like Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, and more with ideas that would never have been approved for what if. And if you know the what if, like what if this happened, what if that happened, comic line, right? Stories by editors in the 1980s, let alone be part of the main continuity, right? So you got a gay Alan Scott, you have a bi or gay what you call it, I was gonna say bad boy Robin, right? And so on and so on and so on, and gay Iceman, right? And I've mentioned it, so I'm not going to dwell on that. So in a recent interview with Popverse, Batman and Robin writer Joshua Williamson admits the comic industry upsets fans intentionally, right? Intentionally, right? On like purposefully, right? It's like I don't want to get into all these words, but like, yeah, on purpose, right? As a cynical marketing ploy. And guess what? Everybody that's going to read this article or watch this video is going to realize that, hey, who are all the people that are doing that? You know what? maybe we shouldn't buy their comics. And I encourage you to go and support indie comics creators who are not cynical towards you, who are not intentionally trying to, push their shit on you, right? Trying to, clickbait you or bait and switch you, right? So, yeah. And it's like, they don't think about long-term goals here. They don't care anymore. So why should you care and waste your friggin' money on them products, right? Why should you buy a comic book, right, that is a piece of crap? Why don't you, as a reader, as a fan, like I am, like for 35 odd years, decide if this is how they're going to treat me, this is how they treat these characters, which I've loved for decades or whatever, however long you have, right? And they're going to do this with them. Why go in, it's like, cut off your addiction, right? I had that with cigarettes for freaking about 20 odd years, right? I went cold turkey, because I was like, well, I don't need this anymore. But it's like, I'm stressing out, I can't read it. No, I mean, smoke it. No, and the first couple of months will be hard, but you can shift. And that's why I say, like, you can shift and buy a indie comic, right? Support Kickstarters, support other creators, support us, right? Jump onto Rising Sun Comics and check out what they've got, right? Check out what Nairobi's got. Depending on what your age group, what you are into, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, it's all there in the indie scene. You do not have to waste your money on this crap, right? By writers like Joshua Williamson and people, like him over there, right? In Marvel and DC, and waste all your friggin' hard-earned money on trash because of FOMO, because of fear of missing out, right? Because you've done it for so long. You're addicted to comics that's trash because you've been reading for those comics for so long. I remember stop buying and reading Amazing Spider-Man after one more day, right? It was it. I was like, I'd got into it because JMS was writing it, and then basically he had done this amazing writing, and then here comes Joe Quesada and ruins the whole thing, right? Brings in the devil, Mephisto, and ruins their marriage just so that what's her name? Because I've got those comics here, right? And I'm like, and I was like, nah, I'm out. And that's like about 20 odd years ago, and so I turned to other stuff, and I started going, okay, I want to read Garth Ennis. I want to go read Hellblazer. I want to go Batman, right? Because I just didn't want it anymore. I don't want writers trying to decide that this is how we're going to ruin these characters and everybody's going to be fine with it, right? How long did it take for Amazing Spider-Man to come back and be good again? It took the movies to do that, didn't it? Then the comics didn't do it. But I mean, I remember the first time I saw Spider-Man was like the original movie, like 1970s movie, in Fiji on a VHS tape with my mate, and I wanted to be Spider-Man. So I made me a friggin' web shooter out of a piece of timber and a nail bent over, right? And so, when you have people like this go out purposefully at these, at Marvel and DC, go out there to troll you. Do you like being trolled by comic creators and artists and these writers? Do you like that feeling of being trolled? Do you like that feeling of being slapped in your face and say, you must accept this trash that I'm writing and that's enough? Just keep giving your money. It's one of the things like, gosh, it reminds me of two songs like Send Me Your Money, right? By Suicidal Tendencies. And then also Letter to H or something like Harry something from Tool. Was it Tool or I think it was Tool? We're talking like you sold out and stuff. And he goes, no, but you're buying all the stuff. Just keep buying, just keep buying, And I think this is why, we're at a stage where these professional comic people think they can get away with it because you and I, until recently, just keep buying that crap. And so they think, we will keep buying it. Like, I mean, I remember the last one I bought was the racist Miles Morales, right? What If comic, right? Where he's Thor. What if he was Thor? I bought it just because it had so much racism in it. So I could hold it up one day and go, this is what comics was right at that time, right? And like when you go to 2015, you can hold up all these things where they went, Hawkeye is female now, and she's still called Hawkeye. And Wolverine's has a female version of Wolverine, and she's still called Wolverine, even though we have a male Wolverine, Logan, right? Original. And so, I mean, at least with Gwenpool, right? Deadpool, which is why I like Gwenpool, they actually changed the name, right? And that was, of course, like a kind of like a throwaway thing with the cover and everything, which is beautiful. And, which is I think is the only character out of the 2015s that I actually think had anything legit about it, that redid that entire storyline and everything. That's why I actually think that character is great, and they should do something great with it, but they don't wanna, right? But like, so as long as you and I have a fear of missing out, or not having that issue in our collection, or not completing the collection, they'll keep putting out trash. They'll keep trolling us, and we'll keep buying their crap, right? Like this one, right? And it didn't sell, right? When people are happy, they spend less. That's why, right? It sucks, but it is a pattern that I've seen in my time at DC, right? So they want you to be miserable, and you'll buy more. That is their. It's like, wait. So if people are happy, they buy less. Is that so? So because the finances say that, So let's make people miserable, so they'll buy more. What are you? Are you freaking? Are you a what would you call it? Are you a serial killer type person? Is that your evilness in you, that like, hey, let's make people miserable so they'll buy more product? And that's why, like I said, last year I walked out, and I've walked away completely. If I'm going to buy a comic, it's going to be old, right? I'm not going to. I'd rather spend money on old comics, and of course indie comics, right, from smaller creators, than spend money on my favorite comics now, right? So I mean, I even sound repetitive to myself, but I mean, I want you guys to turn to indie comics. I want you guys to support indie creators, because we're not trolling you. We're not trying to make you miserable so you buy more comics. We're trying to make you happy, enjoy, and have fun reading our comics, right? And be part of something that's new and different and exciting. And if you don't like that comic, you can always put it down and buy another one. There isn't 10,000, 100 others you have to buy to fill up that hole, right? But I think, I'm just, like after 35 years, I'm just so tired of this. They're deciding that, that the way to sell comics is to make people miserable, right? Because then we'll thing up. So this is one of the most recent ones here, right? And of course the most iconic dumb thing ever, right? And if you know anything about me, Anyway, so I just think, like, all this is just trash. It's trash laziness, but it's not lazy anymore, because here's the expose, right? This is what it is. It's on purpose. It's not about them being lazy. It's them about trying to make money for the, like give you a dopamine hit, right? Because everybody's talking about, I'm even talking about it, but I'm not talking about to go buy it. I'm talking about to get you off the dopamine hit, right? I'm trying to get you off your addiction, right? Stop being addicted to trash, right? It's like friggin', why would you want to do fentanyl when you can just have a happy life, just having a couple drinks, right? Why would you want to get yourself addicted to bad comics when you could enjoy yourself, just reading some good stuff, and at the end of the day, right? It's just it's not just about, oh, I want to piss people off, he goes, right. He then talked about putting characters on roller coasters and vague statements about his writing style. That's what it is, like lots of words. Let's use lots of words, because then you get confused. But really, at the end of the day, it's about this. They want to piss you off because when you come back up here, people buy less when they're happy. So those two put together makes all the sense in the world. They want to piss you off so that you buy more comics. Are you pissed off enough, right, at them to not buy their comics? Because right now they feel happy in their position to piss you off on purpose, to do all this trash on purpose, to ruin characters on purpose, right? It's all on purpose. Because otherwise they can't sell comics unless they piss you off. So if you like being pissed and having those people troll you, then you're more than welcome to it. But if you are happy and enjoy comics, turn to the light side, right? Whatever, turn to the indies, the punk rock when it comes to comic book creation, right? Where they, anything goes, right? You could read a mature comic that's new with new characters. Get your fix of LBGD, whatever, right? The rainbow, right? It's there. You don't have to have these people ruining original characters that they never had a hand in creating, and then race swap, bait you in to buy it, and then like gender swap and everything else with it, right? Because you're so used to it, because they can't sell comics otherwise. Have you seen any of these? Like a lot of these guys, have they, without clickbaiting you, without like bait and switching you, have they actually made any decent indie comics for themselves, right? And it's like, without their name, out there, they wouldn't be able to do this. So, at the end of the day, look, it's up to you. Do you want to have them piss you off all the time and still buy their comics? Your hard-earned money, right? You guys play a couple bucks over in the US, but it's about $10 for a comic here, or $12, right? And most of the time it's like 8 pages of ads in it. And 60%, maybe 70% of the time, inside art is very bad. And the writing's even worse, right? So, it's up to you. I'm going to leave it with that, right? So you've got the link there. You can read the rest of it.